Okay, so put those off to the side. Now the first thing we have to do is we have to make a template. This is our template for all of the pieces that we need. And before we make the template, we need to actually make a pentagon. So we need to start with a square piece of paper. Now the ideal piece is 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters. That's how big this one is. Okay, that's the size that we need to work with, right? And what I'm going to do though is I'm showing it to you on a larger piece of paper so it's easier for you to see the folds. And I'll do this one quickly after. Okay, so we start with a square piece of paper like this. And then what you do is you fold it in half. Right? So you may want to just watch this first. Okay, or you can follow along and stop it after each fold. So you fold it in half like this. Okay, and then you fold it in half this way. There. And now the fold is still at the bottom, if you're following along. We open it up. Now we need to find the midpoint here. Actually, you can do it two ways. You can take a ruler and you can draw a line like this, right? Or you can just fold it. So you take this, knowing you have a crease down the middle, fold this so that it goes up like that. If you're making a triangle, you're going like this. All right, it makes a triangle. Now open it back up and do the same thing this way. And essentially what this does, it makes your midpoint right there, right? See how we've actually made lines right there? Okay, by doing that, and this is the midpoint, and it's good actually maybe to put a little piece of pencil mark on there. This is the trickiest fold of the whole thing. So what you do, this corner is actually going to go and touch that circle, and it's a very odd fold. Okay, so you take this one, this end, and you're going to touch that dot right there. Okay, so you take it, this end is rolling over and touching that dot right there. And if you put your finger on there and push this fold down, it looks very weird. It's because you're making a pentagon. Okay, and then you keep it like that. And now this edge is going to go along this edge. You're going to fold it like this, fold it over, and then you're going to go to that edge right there. Okay, so that's what we've done. All right, we've taken the whole thing, gone over right there, pressed it, and now you've taken this and folded it over this way. All right, now this edge is going to go along this edge. All right, this edge is going to go along that edge. So what we do is, and it's a very awkward fold again. All right, we take it and go like this. So they line up like that. Okay. And now we turn it over like this. Right? So it was like this. Now we turn it over this way. And then there's a natural spot where it's going to fold. It's going to fold like this. And that's what we want to do. I want to fold it over like that. Okay. And then you'll notice that there is a piece right here, right along that spot. And we're actually going to cut the whole thing off right there. We're going to cut it off right there. Right, because we don't need that top part. And once you cut it off, and you open it up, cross our fingers, you have a perfect pentagon, 5-sided shape. Okay. Now I'm going to do this one quickly because this is the one we need to use. So I'm folding it in half, and I showed you the bigger one because it's a little easier to follow with the bigger paper. And fold it in half again. Hold it this way because I need the midpoint now on this side. The midpoint of that square, and this is the way to do it, is to make two triangles, which is right there. And I'm going to make my little dot so it's easier to see. I'm taking this corner, just harder to see on a smaller piece. Right, and then I'm taking this one and going there. I'm taking this and going there. Yep. And now folding it around and then cutting it off. And then this is the piece that we're going to work with. Okay, this is from our 8 by 8 centimeter by 8 centimeter square piece of paper. Now we have a perfect pentagon. Okay, now if you see, it lines up inside this template, right, inside the middle. Now we need to make our ends, right? So what we do is take a piece of card. You'll need a piece of box board, and this is back of a cracker box. And we're going to need to, the best place is to line it up in the middle. And I know I'm usually not a fan of doing that, because sometimes you tend to waste box board with this, but this one you need to, because there's all kinds of extra lines. So what I would do is tape this down to the middle, and we need to tape it down because we're going to be drawing some lines. So if you tape it down like this, okay, in the middle of our piece, like that, then it won't move when we draw lines. Now you're going to need a pencil, and you are going to need a ruler. Sorry about that. And we're going to draw, my table's a little wobbly. We're going to draw lines all the way across on the edges. Okay, we're going to extend them. So we're going to go like this and draw them long. Okay, go like this. And I'm going to turn this around so it's easier to see what I'm doing. And going like this. Turn it around some more. Along each edge, just draw as long as you can. Right, doesn't matter how long it goes. Okay, there we go. Now, these pieces need to be half this distance that way. And the first thing I'm going to suggest you do is there's a little fold mark that you'll be able to see as you're drawing them where they've been folded in half, and just make a little mark there. You're going to want to have that. And now you could measure it. It's hard to do. What I would suggest you do though is if you take just a piece of scrap paper that you have lying around that has a bit of a square edge to it, and if you go like this and line it up and go from the middle to one of your vertices, that's the halfway mark, and that's exactly how tall it needs to be. Okay, so if you go like this then and make a little mark, that's the height. And if you make a little mark here, that's the height. All right, and when you make a little mark here, this is the height. And make a little mark here, this is the height. And make a little mark here, and this is the height as well. Okay, you can do it that, or you can measure as well. Measuring is just as good. And now this is parallel with this. Okay, and you can do it you can just eye it. Take your ruler and just slide it back till you come to the spot, and then draw a line. All right, you can do the same thing with the next one, like this. All right, and this distance should equal this distance. Okay, if it's a little off, that's okay. All right, so that's why I'm starting at the edge and sliding it back. All right, if it's off a little, it won't matter. Okay, same thing here. And same thing here. Slide back and there. Okay. Now, really, if you wanted to make this one, right, then this is our template. If you wanted to make one that looks like this, a little more round, then what you need to do here is you need to make kind of an arch that goes around like this instead. Okay, make a little, if I draw it darker and make a little arch, and you can erase it, you can change it, right? You can do it that way. Okay, so that makes a little arch. Or you can maybe do 2 arches and 2 squares. It's up to you, right, on your template. But the curve will make it curved and the square will make it square. Or you can do 2. Right, you can trace another one of these and make your second one, make it curved, and then just cut the curves out. Right? Now, this will come out, all right, like this, and you will cut all this out here. Okay, you'll cut so it looks like this. This is what you're cutting out. And you're cutting this piece out. That's what you want to do, right? Now, the other thing you need to do, and it may be easier to do it while it's taped on, is if you put it back. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, put it back on, and where you drew your midpoint, maybe go like this on your cardboard as well. It doesn't matter if you draw all over this because this is just your template. Okay, so now we've made little marks where our midpoints are. Okay, and I'm going to take this off. Now I take it off. There we go. And the only reason I did that is because we need to draw lines. Okay, so now we're gonna cut all this out. All right, you're cutting all along here, all along there, along there, along there, along there, cutting out this pentagon shape. And you can still cut all the square edges out. If you decide you wanted to make them round after, you can do that too. All right, you may want to make 2 templates, one that's round and one that's square. So this is the one you want to start with. Then after you cut the second one out, you can make it round. All right, and that's your second template. Okay, so the reason we put a midpoint in is because we have to draw these lines from every corner, and it has to be from the same spot at each corner. Okay, and the reason is we're going to cut these. So you need to, after you cut it out, you're going to draw a line. You're going to draw a line there, 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 and they all have to be from the same spot. And there, okay, and then this is what you'll end up with. A line drawn there, 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 and there. Okay, and now this is what you trace. You trace this on a piece of paper, and you need 12 of these, all right? And one way to do it too is to draw it on a single sheet of paper in many different spots. And one thing you can do is, if you want the midpoint, is you can actually put a push pin through there, right? And then you'll know exactly where your midpoint is on your piece of paper so that you can draw your line. Okay, so eventually what you'll end up with are, I dropped them. What you'll end up with are pieces like this. Okay, you'll cut them out, and then where you have these long lines, you're going to make little cuts, because that is where our paper is going to fit together like this.